What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another full self-driving supervised video. We are on still the last update, 13.2.7, which has been rolling out to a lot of people. FSD is engaged here. It's just choosing to wipe the windshield and not actually move the tires and turn on its turn signal for some reason. And we're going to test it out. So the last drive was my first ever zero intervention drive going from work to home on FSD. Any version, any vehicle. It's never done it with zero interventions. If you look a few years ago, the interventions and disengagements were a little more serious. The past year or so, they've mostly been it going way too slow, like going maybe 30 in a 55 zone and stuff like that. And this was the first time I had to do absolutely nothing going from work to home. And I think that's a big part of the whole FSD vision. Of course, I think the biggest part is getting kind of robo-taxi services in city centers to have people take short trips here and there. But after that, I think is us people that actually own these vehicles and commute, because getting an electric car to commute is nice. We want our cars to do the driving for us. So we're going to try the opposite direction here with a little bit of a twist. It did snow a ton last night. You can see it's still snowing just a little bit, not a ton. And FSD doesn't want to start here, so I'm going to give a tap to the accelerator. And unfortunately, that means our first our drive in the opposite direction already has an intervention. So FSD just refused to move. It wouldn't go. You could see there it turns its turn signal on, and then wouldn't go. So we'll see how it does in the snow. Here, I don't know what the main roads will be like. These back roads are untreated so far. They've been driven on a lot, as you can see, but they don't get plowed or anything. They'll usually come throw some dirt on them later, but for now, these are untreated. It snowed, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 inches, something like that last night. So not a ton, but it's actually one of the bigger snows we've had here in a while. So it'll be interesting to see how it does. Now, what I found yesterday coming home, because this snowstorm actually started last night, on my way home, when you drive in the snow, if you do, you already know what I'm about to tell you. If you don't drive in the snow, when you're driving and it's snowing fresh, so the roads are untreated, they haven't plowed them yet, it's not done snowing, the snow builds up on the road, of course, but as people drive, their tires kind of make a track in the snow, and usually that goes down to the pavement. It at least is, as you can see here, tire tracks in the snow, and that's what you follow. It doesn't really matter so much where the lane lines are or anything like that. You want to keep your tires out of that thick snow because that's the most slippery part. Well, FSD has never, ever been able to do that, and I pretty much didn't use it in those types of conditions where there was snow buildup on the road with the tire tracks, because it would always pull to the right and almost go off the road sometimes. I've shown that in older videos if you want to go back and see those. And you lose traction almost immediately, or you can really quickly. Are we going to get a slip here? Whoa, we slipped, and it didn't force me to take over. That's crazy. Usually when you lose traction for a second, it throws up the red hands and makes you take over. But in those situations, you follow the tire tracks. FSD's never been able to do that, but last night on my way home, it actually kept its tires in those tracks for the whole kind of duration of where I was experiencing that, and I was pretty blown away. And I'm always, very kind of careful and skeptical to say like, whoa, FSD can do this thing now, without it being like, actually said by Tesla or put into the release notes, because there's a lot of times where things happen with FSD and then they don't happen again, or they don't happen consistently. So, I don't know if that's something it's going to do every time. We'll see if we can repeat it up here, or the roads may already be treated, so I don't know. But see, you can see right here, it's actually driving in the snow, which, on the dirt roads I don't care so much. But there are tire tracks over here that any person would keep their tires in, because that's, where you're going to get at least the best traction. So far, we'll leave it on standard for this drive. So far, I actually feel pretty good about what it's doing here. It's going a decent speed. I don't think we've slipped yet, and it hasn't made me take over, which in the past, at least, when it would lose traction, immediately it would kind of yell at you. And actually did happen to me last night in the Cybertruck when it made a turn and it, slid just a little bit, which is normal when you're turning in snow. And it just immediately was like, nope, I'm done. You take over. I was able to re-engage it immediately, but yeah, that's something that can happen. I'm not a huge fan of the snow personally. I wish we could just like get rid of all of it, just delete it, delete the snow, just like you should delete your personal information from the internet using today's sponsor, Delete Me, as we drive on the opposite side of the road and hope nobody comes up as I'm telling you about Delete Me. Data brokers are collecting your information online, your phone number, your social security number, your last name, your address, your work address, your family members, and they're compiling that and they're selling that data. And it's not really technically illegal the way they do it for them to do that. But it is annoying. It can lead to spam, phone calls, phishing, identity theft, or other scams. And so Delete Me is an awesome service that I have personally been using for over a year that will scour these websites, and they will get that information removed from those websites for you. When you put in a request, these websites do legally have to remove the information, but there are thousands or hundreds of these websites, and it's almost impossible for an individual to go through and do that one by one. It just takes so long. So Delete Me can do that for you. They can save you tons of time. For me, they've checked thousands of listings and deleted my information from hundreds of different data brokers. So I have been really happy to use them. I think it's a really important sponsor. So use my link down below. You can save 20% on Delete Me. I have had lots of you happy about Delete Me using that service. So check it out below, and definitely highly recommended by me. So thank you to Delete Me for sponsoring this video. So we're coming up to our first left turn here. And it looks like, all right, these roads are gonna be a little slippery. So we got nobody there. To the right, very nice left turn. It actually feels really good. The cautiousness of it feels really good. But what I will say is FSD on the Cybertruck for me still is a little too slow around turns and stuff. Now there, where we have snow on the road and stuff, that was awesome. But normally it's already kind of too slow for me. So maybe that's just how it drives. So look at this. It's kind of trying to move. Okay. I feel it struggling with, here's what I'm talking about. You can see these tire tracks are kind of on that yellow line. And so that's where you want to drive because it's the best traction. But FSD can see that yellow line. Last night it couldn't see it, so I think that helped a lot. And yeah, I don't know. I definitely feel like it's trying to get its tires in these tracks, but it's also wrestling with the fact that it has to ride the yellow line to do that. So this is kind of almost confirmation for me. It definitely feels like it's trying to keep its tires in those tracks. And it's kind of debating with itself like, oh, but I don't want to be on the yellow line, but I should. This is very cool. So it's definitely not perfect. This is not exactly the best driving. And going 37 here is a little too slow. We don't quite have to go that slow. We do have someone coming up behind us. They're not coming up fast because you don't want to go too fast here. I'm going to throw into hurry just because I'm curious what that will do. Okay, so that is speeding us up a little bit, but again, like, you got to move the tires over that way. Oh yeah, it definitely wants to do it, but doesn't know how to kind of wrestle with the line. That's interesting. I mean, it feels like it wants to do it. I don't know for sure, but that's for sure what it feels like it wants to do here. So this speed's a little better. We don't need to go really much faster than this. This feels pretty good. Yeah, I always say, like, I'm going to keep it in standard, and then I can help myself from playing around and seeing how it acts. I mean, we're trying to see how it does here. So let's see if it can do the rest of this drive. This should probably be, after the dirt road, this should probably be the worst road on our drive, I would guess. So we'll see if it can do it without any help. I don't know. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. See how it's almost, oh, look, it fixed it. Wow, right when I was going to complain about it. All right, I don't know. It's kind of going back and forth, which is, this for me is kind of a new behavior I haven't really noticed with FSD. It definitely always did this thing where it pulls to the right, kind of like what it was doing, but I haven't seen it where it almost tries to fix itself. So honestly, where it's driving is awful. It's like kind of the worst of any option it has as to where to drive. And there you go, look, it kind of fixes itself. Yeah, man, if they can nail down putting your tires in these snow tracks, that's gonna solve like 80% of snow situations. Really? Yeah, like see how it's moving over? This is what it always used to do. Oh no, don't do it. It always used to like move way over, which is scary because, you know, obviously once you go so far, you ain't coming back. But yeah, it's definitely trying to stay. Let's see, as we pass somebody there. Yeah, that felt good. That felt good. Nah, just stay over there. So it's better than it ever has been. I'll put it that way. But it's still like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. It corrected itself. This is it might look scary on the video. It's scarier in real life. I don't want to go that way and go off the road, but I'll be honest, since there's not really any cars around us, there was someone behind us, but they're gone now. I'm kind of letting it go. Let's put it back in standard. Some people are not going to like that I'm in these hazardous conditions and forcing it into hurry mode. So let's put it into standard and try that out for the rest of the drive. I will leave it, I promise. But 35 was a little too slow, in my opinion. If I was driving, I'll let you know. Doesn't mean I'm 100% right. I'd still be going about 50, 55 with my tires in the right position, and I wouldn't have a problem. All right, we're approaching the stop sign. I'll explain it this way. If I was behind the Cybertruck watching it do that, I would be like, yo, put the phone down, dude, whoever's in front of me, because that's not good. There's no way I would have let that drive like that if I wasn't recording a video. But again, I make these videos to show you what FSD does, not what I do. So just so you know, that's not very good driving. So we're gonna make this right turn. Very nice, man. Waiting. It still likes to wait for the people in that lane. It's fine, I get it. So sometimes a little too cautious and makes you miss some of the gaps you could take, but I'm not gonna complain. That right turn was awesome. And then I brought up these cameras to kind of show you, like, I cleaned these before I left the house, and the backup camera actually looks pretty good. How did it get so clear? wow, it was just like pretty bad. But if you look, our left repeater here, ooh, man, I don't know, like that might stop us right there. That might be too much for it. And the right repeater still looks good. Now, a lot of people have said like, oh, why don't you treat it, you know, with Aquaphor or Rain-X or something? I actually have done that. I actually have a whole video about doing that. I don't know, I don't want to take too much time, but yeah, there's a whole video about it because Elon Musk posted that on Twitter like years and years ago, and I went out and tested it. It didn't help at all. And the Cybertruck actually did treat the cameras before we went to Florida at the end of March, or at the end of December. I treated all the cameras, so it hasn't even been, you know, 2 months since I treated the cameras with hydrophobic coating, and it just doesn't seem to do anything. I think the service just isn't big enough. So again, I don't know. There's a lot of cool solutions and ideas I've seen online from people about what to kind of do about this, but they're gonna have to do something. Like you can see there's a water droplet in the camera. So see how, I don't know, hopefully you can see in the video, but this camera here is kind of bouncing around. It's because there's water stuck in there, like stuck to the lens, and the wind is making it bounce around. So we'll see if it can still do the whole drive with that, but that's definitely one of our big problems in this less than ideal weather. All right, so this is wrong, and I deal with this every single day. And now somebody's behind me here, so we're gonna do that. That is the wrong lane to get on the highway. And I voice report it every single day. And what's extra funny, so we have a disengagement there. So what's extra funny about that, number one, I wonder if I left it, if it would just keep going in a circle. What's extra funny about that is that hasn't been a problem for a long time, but when we first got version 11, that exact issue was a problem. And it would get in that lane like for a long time. And then eventually in version 11, I don't know if Tesla did something in the background or I don't know what happened, map data, whatever, it stopped doing that. And it's been taking this left turn correctly for, I mean, well over a year now. And now it's like regressed and brought that weird thing back where it grabs the wrong left turn lane and gets, I don't know why that happens. I don't know how it happens. But I will say I'm happy I was able to turn this back on, because when the cameras get covered like that, I'm always worried that, nice job through this intersection, even with the snow. I'm always worried that once the cameras are covered, FSD's done. You're not gonna be able to turn it back on, because that does happen sometimes. But for now, it's looking good. So we'll hop on the highway here, and there's one big thing I want to point out, and I haven't really talked about yet, but I've noticed Cybertruck, ever since it first got FSD, has been riding the lines, either the white line on the right or the yellow line on the left, or whatever line is, you know, the lane lines. Finally, in 13.2.7, it seems like it's gone. But I have thought that before in other updates, and I've gone on multiple drives where it didn't ride the lane lines, and then it comes up again. So, you know, that's why I'm always skeptical to kind of say like, oh, this is fixed, or this is happening 100%, because unless it's in the release notes as an intended thing to happen, we don't know if it's actually been implemented or is actually happening. So I will say, you could see here, lane centering is awesome. It's not really riding the line, and the line riding hasn't been happening. And the line riding was so bad, I mean, it would go over the lines and everything. Not when people are around, because it knows to stay away from cars, but especially when you're on like, you got a big clear patch, it would just drive onto the shoulder and all kinds of stuff. So I haven't seen that in this version yet, and it was pretty consistently happening before. So really liking this behavior in standard here. We are going a good speed, hanging out in the right lane, and now that there's some slower traffic, we're gonna go around them. So standard's been really nice to me. It's just sometimes get stuck at lower speeds that I don't exactly enjoy. But I talked about in the last video, on the highway, I normally stick to standard or switch between standard and hurry. And off highway, I'm pretty much always in hurry, but I change it up for the videos. So full self-driving may be degraded. One or more side cameras occluded is the message that's popping up right now. Let's check them out. So yeah, they look, pretty much the same as they've been looking. So yeah, that's unfortunate that in just a few, I mean, I think we were at like 6 or 7 miles when that camera started getting blurry. So, but you know what, I gotta admit, if it does get us, I mean, I made a couple mistakes already, but if it does get us to our destination every time, like it has been, and then you're able to kind of clean the cameras off, then it's not as big of a deal. It's just if it interrupts your current drive, then that's kind of the bigger problem. So we are getting out of the passing lane, which is good, but just a tiny bit awkward. We kind of waited till that I mean, there's someone coming up behind us, so that's good that we're getting out of their way. But we could have been a little farther away. I'm getting real nitpicky here. We could have been a little farther away from the person that we just got in front of. And yeah, now they're switching into the left lane to pass us, which is fine. I mean, again, it's just kind of like, you know, when you have the room, keep a little extra distance from cars and stuff. Just pointing it out. And then, yeah, we got to move back over. I actually like that a lot. So we let the faster people pass us. There's still some slow people, so we're going to get around them. Then we can keep going. I don't know what's going on with the windshield wiper. It's all on auto. The FSD can wipe the windshield whenever it wants. I guess it doesn't care. Always interesting. That was illegal. Now I know we're in the left lane, but we were just passing someone. And that's kind of what I'm talking about when I'm like, it doesn't always get out of the left lane fast enough because of stuff like that. That guy was going so fast, he came up on us as we were passing someone, so we were not really in the wrong in that case. We didn't have time to get over. I mean, I'm not even blaming FSD for that one because he came up so fast. But he could have either waited a second, we would have got out of the way, but he probably, you know, just assumes like, oh, this idiot's taking up the left lane, I'm not going to wait. But he could have also actually passed on the right, technically, which I know you're not supposed to, but people do it all the time. And that left lane right now is closed. A lot of times when I make these videos, that left lane's open, but it's flex lane, so it's only open certain times of the day. But yeah, interesting scenario. FSD handled it well, didn't panic or freak out or anything. So we're coming up to a few roundabouts here. Actually, we're getting two roundabouts here. FSD 13 has been good at, I mean, just nails these, man. They're just so good. It's kind of crazy. So let's see how it does here. See how it just kind of glides through. There was nobody in the way. Older versions would, yeah, just hesitate too much. They would stop at the yield. I mean, that was years ago. It'd stop at the yield every time, even when no one's around. Then you'd like be in the roundabout and it would start to slow down when someone's approaching the roundabout. And you're like, no, you have the right of way. It like didn't understand that concept and all that. So again, just kind of gliding right through here. Somebody drove right over the middle of it. That's pretty funny. Cybertruck could do that if it really wanted. That's a pretty tight roundabout, to be fair. So maybe it was a semi or something. Whoa. Turning off the road a little bit there. But there we go. So through the roundabouts. Not that graceful at the end, but not bad. Holy moly. Whoa. My goodness. Sheesh, I don't know what he was doing. I guess he had to do that for his turn, but you'd think he would just wait until traffic was clear. Wow, Cybertruck handled that awesome. Wow, unbelievable. That scared me, I'm not gonna lie. That scared me just a little bit. But before I even I was staring right at it. Before I even went to do anything, Cybertruck was like, nope. Wow, 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 wow. Very impressive handling. That was almost like we're getting to defensive driving. I know it's still reactive, so it's not really, but it was the reaction time was immediate. Man, that was crazy. But you need to clean the windshield. What you doing here? I kind of want to check it. All right, don't hate me. I'm going to check it. Let's see. Okay, it is on auto. Oh, dear. Maybe that's why it wasn't doing it. Made it worse. Oh, man, this is awful. All right, this is my bad. I'm going to clean it. I'm going to clean it off. That's my bad. I shouldn't have done it. Cybertruck knows. It's like, yo, my windshield wiper sucks. Don't use it. Look at that. Right over the cameras and stuff. That's crazy. I don't know. It's weird because my windshield was working great. And I don't know if this, just because it's so big or heavy or whatever, it kind of ages faster or something. I have no idea. But it's not, it didn't used to leave these big streaks like this. So I can't say I've noticed it affecting my FSD performance, but still, like at this point now, your camera's probably not completely clear. And again, any normal person that's not filming a video would have cleaned their windshield long ago. So it's not like this isn't a realistic scenario. All right, so back onto some partially snowy roads, handling it well so far. There's a huge dry patch in the middle though, so I think we'll be okay here. Now this is one where, what is going on? Look at the speed limit, it's all messed up. This is one where The speed limit says 25, but really it's 55. And these newer versions of FSD have made it so that the car can actually handle that, even though it has the wrong speed. Normally I would have it in hurry and it would go like 45 to 50-ish, which is not that big of a deal compared to 55. But because of the snow, like I said before, I'm just gonna leave it in standard and let it do its thing. Actually, this speed is pretty nice considering now we're getting into like a lot more snow-covered road here. So we'll see if this snow messes it up or not. But so far it's handled it's funny, it's handled like the tougher stuff fine. The snow and all that. It's the semi swerving into our lane. It like is the basic stuff. Like it wouldn't start driving in the beginning and then it took the wrong lane to make a left turn. Those are the mistakes it's making, not the hard stuff. All right, then a nice little unprotected left here. There is someone approaching, but we have plenty of time. It's a Rivian, actually. We have plenty of time to casually make that left turn in R1S. Man, I still like the R1S a lot. It's still like, it's smaller than I initially thought it was, which kind of like ruined it a bit for me, but still. Seems like such a nice vehicle. And then, again, this road is actually 55 miles per hour, so I'm putting it on hurry. I'm breaking my promise. I can't do it. Let's see what that does for us. Oh God, hopefully it'll actually go faster. If we get, I get the condition isn't perfect here, but you could be going 60 on this road, no problem. If we get someone coming up behind us, I'm just gonna tap the accelerator, give us another intervention here, because I'm not gonna be in the way for people. Alrighty, so we're about to finish this one up. Overall, it was really good. I mean, imagine hopping in a robo-taxi, no steering wheel, no pedals, and you're like, badoop, ready to go, and then it just sits there. Like in the start of this video, and there's nothing you can do about it. That wouldn't be good. But we got 33 miles on this drive, which is the exact same as last time when I did the drive. And unfortunately, we did have a couple interventions. I did press the accelerator on that road to go a little faster. Someone came up behind us, but you know, whatever. I don't really care about that, but it is an intervention, so I'll throw it in there. And then taking the wrong lane, like that is definitely makes the drive kind of a fail, because I don't know what it would have done from there. It either would have taken a left turn, which I don't even know how it would turn around. I'd have to go through a parking lot. It would have been a huge detour. Or it would have done a U-turn, went back to the same spot, and got stuck again because it would keep taking the wrong left turn. But overall, a safe drive. The semi was very impressive and a comfortable drive. So I hope you enjoyed this one. You will see me in FSD in the next video. Thank you again to Delete Me for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to use my link down below to save 20%.